couple weeks ago, President Joe Biden made the controversial decision to pardon his son, Hunter Biden. Controversial for some, not for all. And we've talked about it ad nauseum, whatever. Well, last week, White House aides were reportedly compiling a list of folks who might get preemptive pardons, folks like Liz Cheney and Dr. Anthony Fauci. And the ladies of The View? Now this week, though, there is another major pardon story in the headlines, and that is, will Joe Biden pardon Donald Trump? No, really. Some folks aren't just pondering it if that's going to happen. They're actually calling for it to happen.
If I were he, I would pardon Trump.
You know something? Honestly,
I would say,
as crazy as this sounds, Chris, that's exactly what I would do. That's exactly what I would do. Enough's enough. You know what? You're the Democrats. You lost the election. You got your butt whipped. You couldn't prevent him from going back to the White House. More than a dozen cases have been dropped against him. The cases that have been ruled against him, he's going to appeal, and he'll probably get off from having to deal with all of that. It's time to move forward. You want to get at Trump? Sit back and judge what he does. Guess what? You got a midterm election in 2 years. Are you going to be ready if you're the Democratic Party? You should be. You know, he's going to be the presidency for 4 years. You're going to be able to judge every single act that he does. March forward, move forward.
Look, I already know what you're thinking. Don, come on. Those guys, they're at it again. You never know. And you're probably saying, those are just two media folks out there chatting on talk shows and podcasts. It doesn't mean that there's a real conversation out there about Biden pardoning Trump, right? Okay, and I would say you're right. Oh, well, you would be right. You would be right if there weren't really some major Democrats who are calling for Joe Biden to make that exact same move, like this guy.
Congressman Clyburn, you obviously, as you've just related the story, have the president's ear. That's no secret, dating back to the 2020 campaign. So let me ask you this. Have you specifically urged President Biden to pardon preemptively Donald Trump?
I have not urged the president directly, but I did have that discussion with members of his staff that I thought he ought to do that. I think we need to clear the air in this country, get this election, because I think that we are trying to run a government on behalf of all the people of this country. And if we spend all of our time going forward pursuing Trump, or Trump pursuing Liz Cheney, Jack Smith, Dr. Fauci, that is what we need to get off the table. And so I've asked the president's people to consider preemptive pardons for all those people. Get it off the table. Because I know Donald Trump, and I think the country knows Donald Trump. And as soon as he gets to the point where he can get the credit for it, he'll do it. And so I asked the president to move forward doing this.
And Congressman Clyburn, that's a startling revelation, at least to my ears. And what was his reaction?
Well, I don't know what his reaction was. I told you I was doing it with my with his staff.
With the staff. Okay, what was their reaction?
I'm not talking directly about this.
Yeah. What was their reaction?
They listen. And they says, we'll convey what you said to the president. And so I'm waiting to get what the president's response might be.
I just want to make it clear here. Jim Clyburn is no Democratic backbencher. Jim Clyburn's words carry a lot of weight. He's like E.F. Hutton over there. He has been in the House of Representatives for 3 decades now, for 30 years. He was House Majority Whip. What else? He was a House Assistant Democratic Leader. He is arguably the reason Joe Biden is president of the United States right now. Do you guys remember this? Back in 2020 in the primary, Bernie Sanders appeared to be running away in the early races. Joe Biden did terribly in Iowa and New Hampshire in the primaries and the caucuses. And then James Clyburn rallied black voters for Joe Biden in South Carolina, and the rest is history. So the Biden White House and Biden himself, they listen when Clyburn speaks. It's like E.F. Hutton, right? You want to know what else? It's not just Clyburn. Now even more elected Democrats are calling on Biden to pardon Trump.
I think it's undeniable that the case against Hunter Biden was really politically motivated. But I also think it's true that the trial in New York for Trump that was political as well too. Now is that, and in both cases, I think a pardon is appropriate. And I really think collectively, America's confidence in these kinds of institutions have been damaged by these kinds of cases. And we cannot allow these kinds of institutions to be weaponized.
So let's examine the merits of the case here. Let's consider the arguments for why it would be good to pardon Trump. All right, just for you know what and giggles. It wipes the slate clean, these pardon proponents claim. It will help depolarize the country. It will depoliticize the criminal justice system. It will convince Trump to not target his own enemies. Okay, I hear you. But I want you to hear from Trump in his own words in a recent Meet the Press interview just from a couple days ago.
Some of this new reporting. NBC News is reporting that President Biden is considering giving preemptive pardons to the likes of Liz Cheney, Adam Schiff, and Anthony Fauci. If President Biden doesn't issue those pardons, do you think they are going to wish that he had? Are they going to be pursued?
I can tell you this about Cheney, and she's a so-called Republican. I think she hurt the Democrats terribly. When I saw that Kamala put Cheney out on the campaign trail, I said, that's the end of Kamala. I really did. I thought it was a terrible move, especially if you're a Democrat. But Cheney did something that's inexcusable, along with Thompson and the people on the Unselect Committee of political thugs and, creeps. So the Unselect Committee went through a year and a half of testimony. Wait. They deleted and destroyed all evidence of that they found. You know why? Because Nancy Pelosi was guilty. Nancy Pelosi turned down 10,000 troops. You wouldn't have had a J6 because other people were guilty. The people that said that I attacked 2 Secret Service agents in a car. I grabbed one around the neck. I was then rebuffed, and I grabbed the other one. These are 2 of the toughest men anywhere on the planet. They happen to be slightly younger than me, maybe, just a little bit. Let me just tell you. They testified. They said it was total. And all of this stuff came out. People lied so badly. Now, listen, this was a committee, a big deal. They lied. And what did they do? They deleted and destroyed a whole year and a half worth of testimony. Do you know that I think those people committed a major crime.
Sir.
And Cheney was behind it. And so was Benny Thompson and everybody on that committee. For what they did, honestly, they should go to jail.
So you think Liz Cheney should go to jail?
For what they did.
Everyone on the committee, you think
I think everybody anybody that voted in favor.
Are you going to direct your FBI director and your attorney general to send them to jail?
No, not at all. I think that they'll have to look at that, but I'm not going to. I'm going to focus on drill, baby, drill.
When you say that, it carries weight, though. You've tapped these people to lead the Justice Department and FBI.
They can do whatever they want.
Let me be very, very clear about something here. Trump is never going to change. He will never change. Democrats who believe that Biden pardoning Trump will convince him to calm things down, to behave like a normal Republican, I'm sorry. But respectfully, you're kidding yourselves. And what is more, MAGA is never going to change. They're going to demand investigations into Dr. Anthony Fauci, into Liz Cheney, and all of Trump's enemies, from the big fish all the way down to the little nobodies. Why do I feel comfortable saying that? Because we have evidence. We have seen it all before. We have seen it many times. Listen to my friend. This is Sam Stein and Andrew Egger over at The Bulwark.
And this kind of like MAGA vengeance machine has never shown any qualms about like keeping fire focused on like the big, powerful people. I mean, like who were the election workers in Georgia who kind of became the subject of a whole maelstrom, like just random kind of county level vote tallying people, volunteers or low level civil servants who like had their entire lives blown up because this kind of infotainment machine was started to slander them, accuse them of all kinds of fraud and things like that. And that was just a public that was just kind of a social pressure campaign of all this
Right.
spotlight on them. That was not even to say federal investigations into these people. So it's a real concern kind of to a lot of different people whose names you know and whose names you don't. And can I say,
yeah,
sorry, go ahead.
Well, I was
Fired
just
up
gonna say,
about
like,
this.
at the end of the day, like, I don't know. I kind of go back and forth on this. I mean, let's say he does try to act on this impulse, right? How does it even play out? Like, what is the how does it like? Does he like send people after these? Like, did they go to court? Like, what exactly is the step that is taken to try to affect the jailing of people who work in the January 6th committee? I can't really sort of conceive of it, and yet I don't want to dismiss it.
Yeah, so I think the main point here is like, yes, it seems vanishingly unlikely, unless things get even far worse than they necessarily will, that any of these people will end up, in federal prison for any of this stuff, right? Like that would be like truly like worst case disaster.
Yeah, we're past the brink.
But I think like the fact that he is calling for it right now, and the fact that he is installing people who will be yes men in terms of trying to roll that ball forward, is already so many sirens and red flags and bad things happening just because of the kind of investigative reach and power of the federal government, the FBI, in terms like just opening sort of spurious investigations into these people on the say-so of Kash Patel or whoever, but probably Kash Patel. I mean, like that's what he's being put in there to do. Like that's why this whole like well, I'm not going to direct them to do it thing is like so just unbelievable, because like,
you don't
that
need to
was
do
his job audition for FBI director. He would go around on all these podcasts for years and years and talk about all of the kind of like top level Trump enemies who he thought needed to be prosecuted by the federal government. And then Trump took him and put him in. So like, that's what he's for. That's what he's there for.
Exactly.
So
you don't need to direct Kash Patel to do it. You hired him because he will do it.
So I'm sorry, Democrats, but your appeals to Donald Trump's better angels will accomplish nothing. Because Donald Trump doesn't have better angels. A pardon for Trump is going to do nothing, or well, nothing outside of making you look like you are weak and that you are running scared. See, you see it time and time again. Every time Democrats try to be the bigger person, every time they take the high ground, the high road, and respect America's norms, Trump just mocks them for it. So wake up, guys. I think it's absurd. But what do you think? Am I wrong? Could Biden pardoning Trump save the country? I don't think it's going to do anything, but maybe you can convince me. I doubt it. Let me know in the comments. We are thrilled to have you as one of our watchers, so thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure you hit the like button and the subscribe button as well, and that way you can be notified about all of our new content. There's plenty of it for you. We're live every day at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. We drop more videos at 2 p.m. Eastern and at 5 p.m. And if you want even more Don Lemon Show content, we'd love for you to become a member of the Lemon Nation, of the Lemon community. Members receive access to special community posts, exclusive content, and live shows. So just head right over to our channel page or click the join button on this video. Again, thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.